What is going on, TubeBuddies? I hope everybody is doing fantastic. So today we are going to be talking about how to start and grow your YouTube channel. So here's something hilarious. First off, if you're watching this on the replay, there's a ton of information in here that if you are starting your YouTube channel, it is extremely important that you know the information I'm going to be sharing with you, because it's all going to help you set up a sustainable YouTube channel so that you can depend on your channel for years into the future, so that you can grow a following, so that you can generate income from what it is that you're doing. All the information that we're talking about today is based on that. Now, with that said, and you can skip through this part right here. It's going to take about 30 seconds. But with that said, so I've been sitting here for the last 20 minutes talking because I went live and I forgot to hit the go live button, and it's just been sitting here. So I've been going through all of the stuff that we're getting ready to talk about, like while it's been off. And I've seen people in the chat, and I've asked questions in chat. Nobody responded, and I'm like, man, are we even live? So yeah. So it looks like we are. Looks like we're good. So Carlos, I'm going to leave the Facebook open here so that I can see that. Okay, so let's get into this. So today we're talking about starting and growing a YouTube channel, and this information is about the core, right? About the foundational stuff that you need to know and get in place to make sure that you are going to have a thriving YouTube channel. This is going to help you avoid tons of mistakes when it comes to YouTube, because if you do the things that we're going to be talking about today, it's going to give you a super solid foundation, and it's going to solve a lot of the problems that content creators have, and it's going to ensure that you are not going to be one of those content creators that starts a channel, starts uploading videos, just uploading videos is the only thing that you're focusing on, and because of that, you end up with a lot of subscribers and all of that stuff, and you have a channel, but it's not where you want to be. It's not in the direction that you want to be. The audience isn't the people that you want actually watching your content. So everything that we're talking about today is going to help you solve those problems. So the very first thing that we are going to be talking about is goal setting. So we've got a bunch of stuff that we're going to be going through here, but at the very top of the list is goal setting. So when it comes to goal setting, goals around your YouTube channel are going to help you solve a lot of problems, and it's going to give you direction. So what I mean by that is, on your journey of being a content creator, you're going to be in situations where you're going to get offered all kinds of different opportunities in the forms of collaborations, sponsorships, things like that. And if you are not clear on your goals and what you're trying to accomplish with your YouTube channel, it's really easy to make bad decisions along the way. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're using your goals as your guide for everything it is that you're doing. When it comes to your goals, the very first at the very top of the list is that you need to make sure that you're working on personal development goals. Now, when it comes to personal development goals, the very first part of that is your actual skill sets. That's what I mean when it comes to personal development goals on YouTube, is your skill sets. So that means your editing, your audio processing, your presentation, your design for your thumbnails, your ability to hook people, your ability to keep people watching, all that stuff. Working on the skills that you need in order to ensure that you're going to be able to do the thing, right? Because a lot of content creators, when they first start doing this, they come into YouTube without having any prior experience about making content for other people. So everybody makes videos on their phones, everybody does selfies, everybody does little clips that they send to their friends. Some people make family videos and things like that. But at the end of the day, none of that's for other people. It's not something that you put online and you basically perform or you don't based on how people are enjoying that content, right? So because of that, you have to work on the skill set side, but you need to make sure that you're attaching some goals to it to ensure that you do it. So for example, what you need to think about is you have to make sure that you're thinking about, okay, if I'm going to be uploading videos to YouTube, then my goal is to get better at these specific aspects of my video editing software. My goal is to learn graphic design basic concepts so I can make better thumbnails. My goal is to make sure that I learn more about photography and videography, because I can also use that not only in my content, which you can, but I can also use it to make better thumbnails as well, right? So when you have those clear goals on the personal development side of things and you write those down, then what you can do in your spare time, or you can schedule the time to do it, is you can make sure that you're watching the videos, or that you're reading, or that you're taking courses, or whatever the thing is, on the information that you need to level up your skill sets so that you can be more competitive, or just so you can get better. Because, you know, me, I've been doing this for 8 years and I'm still trying to get better. Right? So because of that, you just have to make sure that you do have those personal development goals, and that you write them down around what it is that you're, you know, trying to do with your YouTube channel, so that you can ensure that you actually spend the time doing them. And make sure to guarantee that you're going to, you know, learn this stuff. Make sure that you also schedule in time to do these things. So for example, over the course of your month, go ahead and get, if you're not using like a Google Calendar or something like that right now, then go ahead and get one. It's free, you know, with your Google account. So what you do is you go in and start scheduling in time. Okay, this, you know, every Thursday, I'm going to spend, you know, 2 hours just on skill development for my YouTube channel, right? Because you have that goal, and then in order to achieve that goal, you need a path, right, to achieve that goal. And that path is that you need to do the thing. You need to, you know, work on, you know, learning the stuff, but then also applying it. And then you have to make sure that you schedule that in so that you can guarantee it gets done, right? Just like if you have a doctor's appointment or something like that, or you have school or you have work, you show up, you do it, you get it done. Same exact thing applies to, you know, leveling up your skill sets. Now, the next part of this is your channel goals. So when it comes to your YouTube channel goals, this is also a really important thing to write down. Now, I know everybody just wants to write lots of views, lots of subscribers, lots of money, you know, lots of all this stuff. But what you need to do is be very specific and notch yourself up. So what I mean by that is when you're writing down your goals, instead of being like, okay, I mean, of course, you want to have your long goals too. Like, okay, I want to have, you know, 1 million subscribers on my YouTube channel. I want to have, you know, X amount of millions of views. I want to have this many average, you know, view counts per videos. You want to have those long game goals, right? But you also want to have, okay, this quarter or like this month, depending on how often you're uploading, or, you know, this first part of the year, these are the things that I'm trying to hit as it relates to my YouTube channel. And you want to be very specific about them, and this is why. So if you're just uploading videos to YouTube and you're just kind of doing it willy-nilly and you're just putting up videos and then you're just kind of seeing what happens, and then you're like, okay, I'm just going to do another video and just kind of see what happens, but you're not really trying to do anything, then you're not tracking anything, and then you're not actually going to see any progress outside of views and subscribers, right? So because of that, you want to get very clear on, okay, for this quarter, or this, you know, first part of the year, this month, how many subscribers, and you want to make sure you're keeping in mind how many subscribers you're currently getting per month, but how many subscribers, you know, do I want to try to, you know, get this up to? So if I'm currently getting, 100 subscribers a month, this month, let's see if we can bump that up to 200 subscribers. And if you have that goal, then it will change how you think about everything it is that you're doing. So for example, you know, the first 2 weeks in, you're like, oh man, I got like work to do. I'm like, I got, you know, just a little bit of time. I got 2 weeks left and I'm trying to get, you know, up to 200. We've already crossed 100. So that's good, but I'm trying to get to 200. So what I got to do? Gotta I make more videos? Maybe I'm going to put out some shorts. Maybe I'm going to do this because I know I have that goal. So therefore I need to figure out how to try to achieve it. But if it's like, well, I hope that one day I get a bunch of subscribers, then in that particular case, you might. But if you're more intentional about it and you're like, okay, this quarter, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to notch myself up to, you know, to this particular point. Then in that case, it gives you that clear thing that you can go after. Same exact thing goes, like, let's say it is subscriber count based. Then in that case, you're like, hey man, people just aren't, I'm getting views, but people just aren't subscribing. If you have that goal, then it helps you notice that, right? So then when you notice that, you can say, okay, people aren't subscribing, but I'm getting views. What's the problem? And then you can start saying, okay, let me try experimenting with maybe some calls to action at the end of my video to remind people to subscribe. Maybe I'm going to add a little graphic to my video from time to time that reminds people to subscribe. I'm also going to put a little watermark on my video that turns, you know, that bottom right-hand corner of my video into a subscribe button, those sorts of things. When you have the goal and you identify that you need to do things to get to it, and then you're falling short, then that's where you have to go into like, how do I solve this problem mode? And by doing that, it's going to, you know, help you through everything it is that you're doing, but it's also going to help you massively on your YouTube channel. Same exact thing goes for financial goals around your channel, because that's another part of the goals that you need to work on. Personal development, channel goals, financial goals. So the reason that you want to work on financial goals is because here's the thing. As content creators, all of us, when a camera goes down or a microphone breaks or you lose something or whatever, even if you make videos on your phone, then in that particular case, let's say your phone, I mean, they're waterproof now, so I can't say they fall in the water, but let's say that your phone, you break your phone. Well, in that particular case, you gotta buy a new one. So because of that, you need to make sure that you are, thinking about monetization from your YouTube channel, even if it is a passion project, so that it can at the very least help you cover your costs of being a content creator. But when you have those goals, one of the things that you can also do is, like, let's say that you are cruising along, you're getting some views, you're getting subscribers. If you notice, like, hey, I'm trying to hit these financial goals, but I'm falling low there because you're paying attention, then in that case, it's like, okay, I'm falling low here, so what do I need to do? If you're already in the YouTube Partner Program, you can say, okay, I haven't live streamed yet. Maybe I should start trying to live stream so that I can see if I can get some super chats, or if you have channel memberships enabled, see if I can get some, memberships. If you are not in the Partner Program at all yet, but you have a financial goal and you're like, you know what? It's taken me a while, because I'm a new content creator. I'm still learning how to do all this stuff, and I'm going through that learning curve. So because of that, I'm not even remotely close to getting, on platform monetization yet. Like, maybe my views are there, but I still got a lot of subscribers to go or something like that. Then when you have those financial goals, you can say, okay, well, how else do people make money on YouTube? Let me see if I can do it that way. And then your brain, again, starts working for you on your behalf, because you're tracking it and you have those goals, and then it helps you identify those problems. So you can say, okay, well, maybe since I'm not monetized on YouTube yet, maybe I should try, doing like a handful of review videos to try to bring some attention to something as an affiliate, so that maybe I can make some affiliate money to help me meet those financial goals. Or let me open up like a Patreon, or let me at least put a buy me a coffee thing in my description and try to get people to do that. But it just helps you take the right actions that will cause the thing to actually happen. I worked with a guy one time. He had a YouTube channel. He had around, I think 1,000 subscribers on his channel at the time. But he was like, hey, I want to be like a fashion coach. Like, I want to be like a fashion consultant. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, that was his goal for the YouTube channel. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And I was like, are you doing anything to make that happen besides just the videos themselves? And he's like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, if you want to be a fashion consultant, do you have the things in place that would actually allow people to hire you as a fashion consultant? And he's like, I didn't even think about that, because I'm just trying to grow the channel. And I'm like, dude, if your goal is to, be a fashion consultant, then in that particular case, you need to make the vehicle available to where people can, go and actually hire you as a fashion consultant. So he's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. So he went and did those things. He built like a little simple website. And he didn't even do the website. He did that later. He put an email in his video description, and he said, hire me for, fashion consulting, whatever. And the next day, in the next video that he published, he got somebody hitting him up through that email, and he ended up getting a client through that. So when you have those goals, it helps you be like, hey, okay, I've got this goal. So what do I have to do? How do I have to set the channel up? What do I need to make available in order to make this possible, right? So you want to make sure that you are thinking about the financial goals. And remember, on YouTube, you do not have to be in the YouTube Partner Program to make money. Once you are, it's great, because then you make that, extra money, and you can, make money from your live streams and super thanks and memberships and all that stuff. It's awesome. However, if you have those financial goals and you know it and you're tracking it, then if you're falling short, then you look for other ways to monetize your YouTube content to ensure that you're hitting those financial goals. So the next part of this, of course, is miscellaneous. So when it comes to miscellaneous, that's anything else that you're trying to do with your channel. So like in that example that I gave, he's trying to be a fashion consultant. So because of that, he had to get the things in place in order to make it possible. Networking could be one of the things, like, hey, by this time next year or over the next 30 days, I'm going to send this many messages to this many content creators, and I'm going to try to hop on a call with these content creators and try to set up some type of mastermind group where we can all just kind of, with a bunch of other new content creators. And then that way we can share stats together. We can, talk about different plans for what it is that we're doing for our channel. We can talk about some of the stuff that Nick's talking about right now. We can, kind of have our videos uploaded and have them, check out those videos and just give any feedback, those types of things. So that can be a goal. And anything else that, that you have on your YouTube channel or that you're wanting to accomplish with your YouTube channel is, one of those things. So you want to make sure that you do that. Next is your target audience. So you have your goal, right? So then next is your target audience, which is the people that are going to help you achieve those goals in exchange for the value that you add to them. Now, one thing that I want to mention with this is if you make lo-fi music, then, people listen to that in the background to study or just to chill out or whatever, and there's value in that. That's how they get value. If you're a gaming content creator, then in that case, people are watching your games to learn about, different aspects of the game. They're watching your games to escape from everything else that's happening in the world right now and to, be entertained by, your games that you're putting together. If you're doing any other types of content, then in that particular case, they're like, everybody here is adding value is what I'm getting at. If you're just walking around and just kind of showing stuff like this and not really there's no real focus, then in that case, probably not. But if you are, actually putting any type of content together with intentionality, then there's an extremely highly likely chance that you're adding value. So because of that, you're on the right path, right? But you got to figure out who it is that you're going to add that value to. So it's not necessarily always who's already watching your content. It's who you want to be watching your content. So make sure that you're thinking about that. But when it comes to your target audience, here's some things that you want to think about. One, the obvious one is, how old are they and where are they located, right? That's like the most basic, thing. You can see that in your YouTube analytics if you're reaching the people that you want to reach. If not, then you just have to think about, okay, like for example, me, I'm trying to reach people in the United States, typically between 18 and 34, but really anybody over 18 is cool that wants to be a YouTube content creator, right? That's the idea. Next, where do they hang out online? So what you need to start thinking about is, okay, the people that are going to be watching the type of content that I make, where might they hang out online? And the reason that you want to think about this and the reason that you really want to dig into it and try to figure out where, if it's Facebook groups, if it's Reddits, if it's Discords, if it's other places online, you want to embed yourself and be involved in those communities. And here's why. So when you're involved in those types of communities, you're going to learn everything else that I have on this list. You're going to learn what they care about. You're going to learn what they hate. You're going to learn what they love. You're going to learn what they buy. You're going to learn what they stand for, what they stand against. You're going to learn what types of videos and channels they watch. You're going to learn, music references, if those happen to come up in those communities. You're going to learn, those types of things about your audience if you embed yourself with them and you interact with the people that you're trying to reach. And by doing this, it helps you as the content creator better, more easily be able to reach them through your titles and thumbnails. And if you're doing YouTube Shorts, then of course, through the hooks that you're using in your YouTube Shorts. So for example, if you are trying to connect, if you know who it is that you're after and you're trying to connect with them, then in that particular case, you have some things that you can use for this. Of course, the topics of your videos, right? It's common. I would think it's common sense that if you're trying to reach a very specific type of viewer, that you need to be making topics that viewer, videos about topics that those viewers would be interested in, right? So for example, TubeBuddy is trying to reach YouTube content creators. So TubeBuddy, like I'm here on the TubeBuddy channel, which I just want to say I'm just super excited to be back here on the TubeBuddy channel. I used to stream here every month, back in the day for years. And then that stopped for a while, and then I'm back. So I just wanted to say, thanks to TubeBuddy and the TubeBuddy, staff for getting me back here on the channel. But when it comes to connecting with your audience, like with TubeBuddy, they're trying to reach content creators. Therefore, we're doing this stream about how to start and grow a YouTube channel because that's something that content creators are trying to do, right? Now, when it comes to that though, another thing in addition to the topics that you're talking about is how you're actually putting your packaging together, and your packaging is technically your topic as well, but it's also your thumbnail and title. So when you're thinking of your packaging for your YouTube videos, you want to think about, okay, if it the thing that people have to make a decision about if they're going to watch my video or not, if it's a long form piece of content or a live stream, is they have the thumbnail and they have the title. So what could I do with the thumbnail and or title to help me, or to help the people that I'm trying to reach, identify that the content that I'm making is something that they might care about? So the way that you do it in the thumbnail is adding either words and or imagery that will stop somebody in their tracks that you're trying to reach. So for example, me, I use like a lot of stats, things in my thumbnails. I'll use the word YouTube or YouTuber a lot in my thumbnails. If the video is designed for new YouTubers, then I'll use the word new YouTubers in my thumbnail. And the whole reason for that is because it ensures that the right people are clicking on my thumbnails. And the way that YouTube works is if the right people are clicking on your content, the right audience that you're trying to reach, and you add value to them and they're enjoying your content, then the system, YouTube's algorithms, are going to find more people like those viewers and present your content to them. That's how channels, blow up. So because of that, when you are being intentional about the packaging and thinking about, okay, if YouTube opens up on a computer, we'll do this for a phone too, but if YouTube opens up on a computer and there's this, grid of thumbnails, what is it about my thumbnail? And you want to ask yourself this question with every video you publish. What is it about this thumbnail that's going to help my target viewer identify that this content is something that they care about, right? So if you're making, cooking videos, then of course you'd want to feature the food. You wouldn't want to feature yourself with just some text on the screen. You would want to feature the food because that is that's what people are going to connect with there. If you're making, crafting content, then in that particular case, showing the crafting, related stuff. If you're doing travel content, showing some of the imagery of some of the places, depending on, exactly what you're talking about, but showing some of that nice travel imagery that somebody that's into traveling would be like, oh, that looks beautiful. I want to go there, whatever. But the idea, if you're a gamer, right? Because I know a lot of gamers, are probably in here too. Because there's, at scale, gamers are all over YouTube. So, if you're a gamer, then in that particular case, the idea would be you want to make sure that you have prominent characters of your game or prominent aspects of your game as like the focus of your thumbnails, because that's going to be the thing that's going to help people identify that your content's about something they care about. Now, you can go past some of this once you get your feet wet and you have like a really good understanding of, the people that you're trying to reach. But the starter part of it is like, I just got to make thumbnails that will help them identify that this just has something to do with what it is that they care about. Same exact thing happens on a mobile feed. So they're on their phone, they're sitting there scrolling. Your image is going to be the thing that's going to stop them and help them identify that it's something they care about. So for example, for me, let's say, just because I have it sitting here, let's say that I have this, right? Let's say somebody has a thumbnail and it has this on it. Because I'm familiar with the brand, because, I know that it's something related to audio and I'm a content creator, if I see this in a thumbnail, I'm going to at least stop and I'm going to take a look at it. And I'm going to look at the thumbnail because I know that that particular video has something to do with something I care about. And in some cases, even if I see this and I'm like, oh, I already got one, whatever, then in that particular case, another thing that I might do is I might actually click into that content creator, not even watch this video, but see what else they have, because it's obvious that they're making more content, or that they could be making more content about things that I care about. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about that when it comes to your imagery. Now, when it comes to your titles, the same exact thing applies. So when it comes to gaming, this is a little bit more challenging in terms of like, beginners and, things like that. I mean, not the beginners part isn't, but when you start getting into advanced stuff. But like, as an example, let's say that you are teaching people about like Call of Duty. Then in that particular case, not all of your titles, but a lot of your titles should mention for beginners. And, it could be, how to, do XYZ in COD for beginners, right? And by doing that, the advanced people that already know all that stuff, like they're not going to click on it because you're making it clear from the outside that it's for beginners. If you're somebody that's trying to reach, and this one's, I like to mention this one just because it's like a low hanging fruit, like it's just easy. But like, let's say that you're trying to reach like single dads or dads in general. Then in that particular case, then it would be, best barbecues, best backyard barbecue or best barbecue grills for dads in 2023. Or, 3 ways dads can better connect with their families if you're making that type of content. But the idea is when you put those types of words in your title, then it helps the people that you're trying to reach know, again, that it's something either related to them or not, so that you can get the right people clicking on what it is that you're doing. Another example of this is, let's say that you're like a designer and you're like, hey, how to do X, Y, Z for designers. Like you can literally put for and then the target audience that you're trying to reach. And by doing that, especially when you're getting started, it helps ensure that the right people are clicking on what it is that you're doing and that there's clarity. And when you're thinking about that, it also helps you be more intentional with what it is that you're doing. Okay. Now, the next thing, of course, is you do want to make sure that you are considering, when it comes to your target audience, you want to make sure that you are considering how people fit in to what it is that you're doing or your plans. So, for example, a friend of mine, he started a music channel. And on his music channel, one of the things that he did is he made like these varied tutorials. Some of them you have to be like really familiar with like everything about like music theory and like the interface of the software that he's using and all of that in order for the video to make sense. And then another video that he made was literally a how to get started with, XY with the actual software that he's, using. So what happens there in that particular case is he is making the first video about how to get started with that software. And then his next video is an advanced video. And because he wasn't clear on where he's catching people in that process, then what happens is that next video isn't relevant to this audience that enjoyed this particular video. So if you're just getting started, getting clear, and this is all, going to be dependent on the type of content that you make. But if you are trying to reach people in like different areas of things, getting clear on, where it is that they are in the process is going to help you better connect with them as well through the topics that you're making and through how you're leveraging your packaging, topic, title, and thumbnail in order to help them identify that it's something related to them. So the next thing is that you have your goals, you have your target audience and the people that you're trying to reach, and you're clear on all of that. You know how to connect with your target audience now, right? So the next thing that you need to think about is your plan or your path or your strategy for actually achieving your goals. So when it comes to YouTube, you can use different content for different things. So for example, if you go back to the monetization side of things, like we were talking about before, then in that particular case, if you're trying to generate more income, then you can say, okay, well, I'm not even in the partner program yet, but I'm trying to get money. So because of that, I'm going to make some videos that are going to be for my target audience. That's going to be about products that they care about. And I'm going to sign up as an affiliate to Amazon or some other, affiliate program that, has those products available. And I'm going to actually review this thing. Now, reviewing the thing is going to get your content in front of a different type of viewer than somebody that is just, randomly happening to, watch videos on YouTube that aren't, reviews. So because of that, if you're trying to, get money quickly, like review type videos are great because then you're able to catch people when they could be thinking about buying the thing. So then you're going to increase your conversions and things like that. But you can also make other types of content, but just mention those things and let people know that you have a link in the description. But the idea is that, if I'm trying to get more revenue. So in order to get revenue, I need to make sure that I'm running through every possible monetization option. I got to make sure I'm looking at all the other channels on YouTube that make content like me, and I'm looking in all of their descriptions, and I'm figuring out all the different ways that they monetize what it is that they're doing. And just by doing that alone, it can help you make a lot more money, or just a lot of money over time by just looking at other people's descriptions and being like, oh, I didn't even know that was available. Let me sign up for that affiliate program and let me make that available for my audience and talk about it with them. So the same exact thing applies. When you have that, plan, then you can say, okay, for the affiliate side of things, as part of my plan or strategy, I'm going to make long form videos for those. I'm going to make review videos so that I can, capture people in that particular process. And I'm also going to use those review videos as a way to introduce just new products in general to the people that, might click on that. But when you have that plan, then you say, okay, my long form videos are going to be designed for that. Then you can say, okay, now I need to nurture my audience. So as people are coming into my YouTube channel, am I comfortable with, do I want to try live streaming so that I can nurture my audience? If the answer to that is yes, then in that particular case, you add that to your plans and you're like, okay, so I'm going to have, this long form content that's going to help me increase my watch time to help me as one of my goals, get into the YouTube partner program. I'm also going to use that long form content to promote things as an affiliate, which will also fill that money bucket. And in addition to that, I'm also going to do a live stream that's going to help me, just interact more with the people that are already, engaged in my content. And a lot of people, when they're getting started on YouTube, they don't really think about, how powerful being a small YouTube channel is. Because when you have a small YouTube channel and you're just getting started, the people that do come out and hang out in your live streams, like you're going to get to know people by name. You're going to get to know their YouTube channels if they happen to be YouTube content creators. If they're not content creators, you're going to get to know them. Like for example, Paul Peck Drywall Tube. He's in the chat right now. He's a mod here on the TubeBuddy channel. Him, Like, he's been watching my content for a super long time, right? And because of that, like like anytime I see Paul Peck Drywall Tube, like, hey, what's up, dude? Right? And he stands out amongst all of the other chats that are happening because, he came in when I was still like a relatively smaller channel. So because of that, you as a content creator that's just getting started, nurturing that community while it's still small is fantastic because you can create friends, you can create really strong relationships there. And you have that opportunity. If you have, 10 people in your live stream, some people would look at that and be like, oh man, I only got 10 people in my stream. But when you're getting started and you have 10 people in your stream, that's 10 people that you can really interact with in a heavy way. And some of those people will keep coming back to your streams. And in some cases, you'll even make friends with them. So because of that, the nurturing side of things should be part of your plan. If it's not part of your plan now, then you need to make sure that it is part of your plan for the future. Because, once you start growing your audience, that nurturing side of things can be really powerful depending, because remember we talked about goals, depending on if that fits into the goals that you have for your YouTube channel. Because it's fine. You might be one of those channels that are like, hey, I'm just making videos, uploading videos, paying attention to my stats, doing it that way. Don't care. I'm not answering comments. I'm not live streaming. I'm not trying to nurture a community. I'm just trying to upload videos and, just make awesome videos. And I'm just going to do that, right? That's fine too. But if you are somebody that is wanting to nurture that community, then in that case, adding live streams for that is good. When it comes to your content strategy or your plan to, achieve your goals, YouTube Shorts are great for getting in front of new viewers that might not have clicked on your content before. So when it comes to YouTube, you have long form content that shows up, all over the platform. And with that long form content, the challenge that you have as a new content creator, even experienced, like people that have been on YouTube since day one, they still have this challenge. So when you make a piece of content and you package that content up with a, thumbnail and title, then in that particular case, you still have to get people to click on it. But with YouTube Shorts, it's totally different because there the content just happens. Like it just shows up in somebody's feed. So because of that, you can use YouTube Shorts as part of your strategy to get you in front of more new people that might not have been introduced to you otherwise. And you can also do some of the other things that we were talking about with the audience identifiers that's what I call the thing where you put like the target audience that you're trying to reach in your actual title and or thumbnail. But basically, like with YouTube Shorts, it would be the same to where, like, let's say that you're trying to connect with, music producers. Then in that case, your short starts and it's like, hey, if you're a music producer, blah, 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 blah. Right? So then right there, music producers are like, oh yeah, this is for me. And then anybody that's not a music producer will swipe right past that, but it'll get recommended to other music producers as long as you start having music producers that are watching it and they're enjoying that content. So that's the idea of using YouTube Shorts to kind of leverage the ability to get you in front of new audiences that you might not have been able to connect with when it comes to your long form content, because you might still be working on that skill set. Or even if you have that dialed in, the Shorts feed is just showing your content to different people that the rest of the site isn't necessarily showing them. So it's just a whole opportunity to get you in front of a lot of new people. So if you're wanting to grow your channel fast, especially now, this is like an unprecedented opportunity on YouTube. Like if you're wanting to grow your channel like quickly, having shorts as part of what it is that you're doing is definitely the path. And in case you're one of the people that are looking at some of the old information online where people are like, hey, you got to have shorts on a different channel and it messes up channels, makes them messy, all that stuff. All of that is gone now. So YouTube has separated, all the different content. You can see it on everybody's channel page now on YouTube. They've separated everything. They've also built bridges between short form content and long form content algorithmically. So if people enjoy your short form content, they're more likely to get recommended your long form content. You still got to get them to click, but they, are more likely to get recommended that long form content. So because of that, YouTube Shorts is definitely something that as content creators that we all have to, take a lot more seriously. And really, we should have been doing it, more seriously for a while, but like 2023, huge opportunity that you need to make sure that you are at least considering, again, as long as it fits into your goals. Right? Because we always default back to your goals. If it fits into your goals and what it is that you're trying to do, then in that case, leverage it. If not, then, you don't have to use any of the features. Next up is, let's say that you are trying to just be like, hey, because of my schedule, I can only do like one long form video like a month. But I want to make content. I want to, keep giving people, content on my channel. So what can I do? So then in that case, you can also use short form content for just quick supplemental content where you just, start the camera and you're talking to them, but you're thinking of it from the lens of I'm talking to them and I'm still giving them, some type of like actual content. I'm not using the short to say, hey, go check out my YouTube channel and go watch my long form videos, nothing like that. But you give them actual short form content that is intentionally designed for the sake of showing up and performing well in the short shelf, right? That's the idea. Next, if you are thinking about growth and you're like, hey, as part of, my strategy, of course, I need to sprinkle in some growth related things. Then in that particular case, shorts are great for growth. Long form content's great for growth. In some cases, live streams are great for growth. So one thing that I've been trying to spread awareness about recently is that live streams, like this live stream here, we've been online for like 34 minutes right now. So with this longer form content, it's like a higher threshold of accessibility. So basically when you have, 45-minute, hour-long live streams, one of the things is like when somebody sees that timestamp, it can, kind of turn them away from the content, or when they click into it and realize that, hey, this is like 45 minutes or an hour, that can turn off a lot of people. So because of that, when you're thinking of growth and you're going to be leveraging live streams for it, then in that case, make sure that you are thinking about like, hey, can I repurpose some of my longer form content where I take out little clips and then upload those clips as, supplemental content? Or can I do some shorter live streams? And this is something I've been experimenting with on my channel, is like a news segment that I do every Friday that keeps content creators up to date with everything that's happening on YouTube. So go subscribe to my channel if you're not, by the way, and subscribe to TubeBuddy if you're not subscribed here already. But anyway, with that content, it's live, but it's like, 5 to 10 minute live streams. And some of those videos are outperforming the content that has like hours and hours and hours applied to it, because it's got to be planned out. It has to be bullet pointed. It's got to be presented. It's got to be, files have to be transferred from there into that computer, uploaded to Dropbox. Vigard, my editor, has to pull them down, has to edit everything, has to upload it up into the content calendar and all that. I got to download it, put it back up into YouTube, right? Do approval, those types of things. So it's actually outperforming some of the long form content. So if you are somebody that thinks that you might be comfortable going live, working that into your strategy as well is also something that you can use for growth on your YouTube channel. So what does this look like when it comes to like, the wide view of, you're putting your plan together? So first, one way that you want to make sure that you're thinking about this is you want to think about it from the lens of, okay, this is the amount of content that I plan to publish, or that I'm going to publish, if you want to commit to it, that I'm going to publish over the next 30 days or over the next 90 days. Then you open that up on a calendar. And then from there, you say, okay, if I'm going to be publishing, let's say 1 video per week, a short per week, or 2 shorts per week, whatever, then in that particular case, this is how many videos I'm going to have over the either the next 30 days or over the next 90 days. So if these are all the videos that I'm going to have, now I go back and I look at my goals again and I say, okay, these are the things that I'm trying to accomplish. So in order to accomplish these things, then I need to make sure that I'm making some of these types of videos over this 90-day period. I'm going to make them at this time, this time, this time, and this time, in order to ensure that I'm putting out some type of content that has the potential to earn affiliate revenue or some other type of alternate monetization if you're not in the partner program yet. If you are already in the partner program, then in that particular case, going into your stats, looking at the content that typically drives higher CPMs or RPMs on your channel, and then saying, okay, topically, these typically drive a lot more, revenue. So because of that, if my, goal over the next 30 or 90 days is to increase my revenue, then in that case, I'm going to go in and I'm going to pencil into my calendar, like these are the videos that I'm going to be putting out for the purpose of driving more revenue to my YouTube channel in exchange for the value that I'm providing, right? And then the same exact thing goes. If you are going to do, like live streams for that connection, then you want to pencil those in. If you're doing the shorts for growth, then you want to say, okay, these are the shorts that I'm going to be putting out. I'm going to be putting them out on these days, and these are designed for growth. So because of that, I don't need to make sure that I'm like super laser focused niche. I need to be niched, but I need to be thinking more broad audience within my niche. if that, hopefully that comes through clear. I'm going to say it again just in case. So instead of thinking of like, okay, I'm within this niche, with every niche, you have different pockets of people within that niche, right? So when you're thinking of growth and the content that you're going to put out with growth and you're applying, your strategy to it, then you have to make sure that you're thinking, okay, if growth is the goal, then I need to start thinking of broad audience within my niche. And then by doing that, that's going to help you make content ideas or come up with, video ideas for shorts or long forms or whatever that are going to be more primed for that larger group of people, which will help you, grow your audience as well. And then, of course, if you are, taking that view and you're like, these are the days that I publish videos, and then you start applying purpose to each one of those videos, then it's really easy, because then you can say, okay, over the next 90 days, these are the days that I'm putting out videos. These are what I'm going to try to accomplish with each one of these videos. And I'm going to write down the purpose of each video before I even make the video. But I'm writing down the purpose and what I'm trying to accomplish. And then within those videos, because I know that's what I'm trying to accomplish with those videos, then I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the things within the video content to ensure that it helps me also accomplish those goals that I'm trying to accomplish with the video, right? So that intentionality with everything it is that you're doing can go a really long way. If you're following me so far and all of this is making sense, say yes. Just say yes in the chat really quick, just so I can make sure that everybody's on board. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about starting and growing your YouTube channel here in 2023. We're talking about setting up a really strong core foundation for what it is that you're doing, setting goals, making sure that you're understanding your target audience, planning a strategy on your YouTube channel that ensures that the content that you're putting out all has a purpose, and all of those purposes lead back to helping you accomplish your goals, right? Now, of course, when you are adding the purpose to it, okay, so we're getting some feedback here. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. So when it comes to the goals and trying to accomplish the goals, when it comes to the purpose of content, you can also put out content like, hey, I'm just putting this out because I just want to put it out. Like that can also be a purpose, right? That's that creativity side of what it is that you're doing, where it's like, hey, I've got these goals and all that, but I also need to make sure that I'm, also doing the things that I like to do. So, like I want to be intentional, but I also want to just be creative. So because of that, I also need to make sure that I am, making room for that. So like in my content calendar, I have like a drop down. I have all these different reasons for making the content. So one of my things that I have in there is people need to hear this. So when I make those videos, those are typically videos to where I'm just like ranting about something, or I'm spreading awareness about something, because I'll see online that a lot of, content creators in like Reddit groups, or maybe in like Twitter, or maybe in Discord, I'll see content creators are talking about these very specific things. So I'll be like, okay, this is something that people aren't understanding. So therefore let me, or that people need help with. So let me go ahead and make some content about that. And then I just mark it as this is just something that people need to hear, right? This is a hurdle that people need to jump over. So I'm gonna make a video about it and try to add some clarity to it. That's the idea. So you wanna make sure that everything that you put out, it has purpose, but that you're also looking at 30 to 90 day spans of content, and that you're literally planning out. You don't have to even come up with the titles or anything like that yet, but that you're planning out the purpose of the videos as it relates to the goals that you're trying to accomplish. And then from there, you can start saying, okay, this is, a money video. Since it's a money video, then it needs to be like a review video, some type of affiliate video, or something where I'm bringing awareness to my product or service, or whatever the thing is, that you're doing with your content. So when you have those purposes, then you can make sure that you're making the right content to fulfill those purposes. So hopefully that makes sense. And really quick, D Patient says he's helpful, but may rush through too fast. Totally. It's because I have a lot of content to go through here. Plus I just naturally talk quickly. But if you want to watch this back on the replay, in the YouTube player down in the bottom right-hand corner, on a mobile, I think it's up in the top right, but you can go into the settings and you can actually pull it back a notch for the speed, and it'll slow me down just a little bit, because I naturally talk fast. I get that in my comments from time to time too. But yeah, no problem at all there. But just watching it back, maybe you listen to it as like a podcast or something, and just kind of slow it down a little bit there, so that you can get, get all the information. Let's see, we did that. Okay, so another thing to think about here also is when you are looking at your content that way, you just look at your primary goal, your secondary goal, and you're like, okay, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. So I just kind of fill in these blanks on, the type of content that I need to publish. And then from there, I start working on the video ideas. And I also start thinking about, instead of, this is something I want to make clear as you're putting your content strategy together, instead of thinking of all the videos that you're making as one video, like, hey, I'm just publishing a video on Tuesday, start thinking of like, okay, these are sets of videos, right? Because as you're designing your content strategy for all the, reasons that you're putting your content out, and I'm getting ready to go into like something kind of advanced here. So for those of you that are getting started, you can kind of just come back to this, or if you get what I'm saying, then it's cool, you can run with it. But the idea is that when you're putting your content schedule together, and you are filling in the blanks of the content type that you have to put out in order to achieve, the goals that you have for that, quarter, or, for whatever date range you have, that you're setting your goals out for, then in that particular case, you want to make sure that you are also thinking about, man, I just completely lost my train of thought. I built that up nicely, right? And then just dropped it on like losing my train of thought, right? The beauty of live streaming. But let's see here. It was the advanced thing. So, oh yeah. So basically what you want to do when you have all those things, kind of laid out on exactly what it is that you are, like these are the videos I'm going to be publishing for these reasons. Then you want to start thinking of like, how am I going to start stringing these together, linking these together so that as I'm making this video content, I'm going to be recommending other content that's a part of this so that I can make sure that I'm driving viewers from a video to another video through my end screens or cards through your recommendation that ends up getting people to watch from one video to the next video to the next video. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about the relevance of like video A, and then like, how can I get them to video B, and then also have that serve the purpose that I'm trying to serve for, that particular goal. But another part of this as well is you can also do it to where you're like, hey, these are my money videos. And if we refer back to your goals again, if you're trying to generate more revenue and you have videos that you're like, hey, these are converting into like affiliate sales, or I'm getting higher ad rates from these or whatever, then in that particular case, you can say, okay, well, since while I'm putting these videos together, I already have these videos on my channel. So I'm going to make sure that I'm recommending people, as long as it's relevant to the video that you're making, because that relevance is super important. But I'm going to make sure that I'm recommending people to go check out some of those videos because they're proven to, convert for me, either in, subscribers or, ad rates or, affiliates or whatever it is that you're doing, whatever the goal it is that you're trying to accomplish. You can send people from other content to those videos that you find on your YouTube channel, help you accomplish those goals faster. And then by doing that, you start to build a network of content that drives into very specific videos that help you, achieve what it is that you're trying to do faster, helps you grow faster, things like that. Hopefully that made sense. So just some tips for you when it comes to this, and we're going to get into Q&A here in just a second, but some tips for you is, of course, be intentional about everything it is that you're doing. So be intentional about everything it is that you're doing on YouTube, because you can upload and you can get lucky from some of the uploads that you do. However, if you want to have a long-term sustainable YouTube channel, luck isn't going to do it for you. You have to make sure that you are developing your skill sets and that you're being intentional about the content that you're putting out, because if you're not intentional about it, again, you might, end up doing okay, but you're going to end up in a place where you might not necessarily want to be, or you could end up in a place where you might not necessarily want to be. But when you are intentional, it's also going to help you ensure that you're doing the right things that will help you achieve your goals that we talked about when we first started. And if you're joining us late, I really recommend that you start watching this on the replay as well. Once we're done with the stream, because the starting part is it's extremely important. So make sure you go back and watch that part if once we're done with the stream here. Next is you want to make sure that you are experimenting on a regular basis. So it's really easy, if you're new or experienced, it's really easy to get kind of stuck in the rut of the thing that you always do, right? The way that you think it should be, the way that you think people should respond to things and all of that. But through experimentation, you can uncover tons of stuff. So like just experimenting with how you're starting your videos, how you're ending your videos, different editing things that you're doing, topics within your space, different formats. So typically, like let's say that you're in a desk situation like me, if you're sharing any type of like talking head type content, let's say you're in that scenario, well, try vlogging. Try that style and see how that goes. So still do the same thing, but try it in like a vlog style, see how that goes. If you're normally in this scenario, try making one in your living room. See if people watch that for a longer period of time because it's more relatable or something like that. But through experimentation, you're going to uncover tons of things. That's how I found my news, right? So basically I was like, hey, this is, my plan for this. And this is, the benefit I think that doing this is going to do for me and content creators. So because of that, I'm going to experiment with this. If people like it, I'll keep going. If people don't, then I ran the experiment and I know that at least at this point in time, people aren't into it. So then I won't do it. But people liked it. So since they liked it, then in that particular case, I keep going. But I wouldn't have found that if I didn't experiment, right? So I recommend you do the same. Next thing is learn everything you can about YouTube or TikTok or whatever platforms it is that you're trying to thrive on. Learn everything you possibly can about them. TubeBuddy has tons of videos. I have tons of videos on my channel. There's tons of content creators that make content like this that can help you learn all the stuff about YouTube. YouTube themselves, they have something called Creator Tips that also is a resource. It's free, provided by YouTube for you. Like there's tons of free information out there to help you learn everything it is that you need to learn about YouTube. So learn everything that you can. Like if you're wanting to thrive on the platform, learning about everything that you can and keeping up to date with everything, because everything's moving so fast on YouTube and just social media in general that things are constantly changing. So because of that, watching a video from 3 years ago, if it's about like video editing, then a lot of it would probably make sense. But if it's about growing your channel, then some of it might still be relevant. But if it's, like for example, there's been a lot of emphasis on tags in the past, but now tags are just like an afterthought, where it's not even something you have to put a lot of time into. You can just use TubeBuddy. They'll recommend the tags to you and you can just click the ones that are relevant to your video and then like get on with your life, right? Instead of having to like research and, do all of that stuff. So because of that, make sure you're learning everything you can about YouTube and that you're just constantly trying to develop your skill sets. But if you focus on the following things, you're going to win. 1, building your skill sets. 2, adding value to your viewers and continuing to add value to your viewers and trying to just get creative. Like, how can I add even more? How can I give even more to the people that are interacting with my content? If you're playing games, how can I be more entertaining? How can I do this in a way that people will enjoy it even more than they already are? If you're teaching people stuff, how can I teach people better? How can I communicate these ideas that I have to people so that they'll resonate more, right? Like those types of things, but just constantly trying to improve and add value. 2, as Doug Houston would say, value first, right? Doug Houston YT, value first. But learn to make content that people are going to watch for a longer period of time. So making content and making content people enjoy, 2 totally different things. Anybody can upload a video to YouTube, but not anybody can upload a video to YouTube just as a random video that people will enjoy. So that comes from learning how to make content that people enjoy. So you might innately have that. Some people, they get it, right? So they'll just be like, okay, I need to do these things and people will enjoy this. I just need to structure it this way, blah, blah, blah. And some people will get that right out of the gate. Other people won't. And you'll have to go through the process of learning that. So because of that, just make sure that you are intentionally working on your skill sets, like I said before, to learn how to make that content people enjoy. Also, learn how to help people that you're trying to reach, your target audience that we talked about here earlier. Learn how to help them identify that your content is about something that they care about. That's through the language that you use in your titles. That's through the imagery or the words that you use in your thumbnail. Okay. So make sure that you do that, because that is going to be a very core and important part of you being able and having the ability to grow your YouTube channel. If you're doing YouTube shorts, same exact thing applies. For the people that you're trying to reach, how do you grab their attention when your short first starts? How do you keep them watching when they first, it scrolls up, they're on the phone, bam, you're right there in front of them. How do you grab their attention and keep it in your shorts? You got to learn how to do that. Also, you got to learn how to compel people to click or hook them. So if you're doing shorts, the hook that I was just talking about, but if you're doing long form content, you have to learn how to get people to click. So you got to learn how to help them identify what you're doing, and you got to learn how to get them to click on what it is that you're doing by coming up with videos that they want to watch and then figuring out how to make them compelling ideas that people will want to click on. If you do just that list right there and you set goals, you're intentional about what it is that you're doing, you understand your target audience and all the other stuff that we talked about, then you're going to do awesome. But you just have to go through that process. And keep in mind, if you are a new content creator, I want you to know, right now, my YouTube channel, I've got like 150 or 60 something thousand subscribers, almost 170,000 subscribers, I think now on my YouTube channel. When I first started, it took me 5 months to get my first 150 subscribers, right? There's some content creators that you're going to see come onto the platform and right out of the gate, they're just going to hit the ground running and they're going to start doing awesome. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, what's going on? What am I doing wrong? Blah, blah, blah. It's just the learning curve. That's it. It's just the learning curve. So because of that, what you have to make sure that you're doing is focusing on what it is that you are doing. If somebody in your space is doing awesome, then notice and see what it is that they're doing and try to analyze it and think of why people might be responding to them better. But there's no amount of watching somebody else and comparing yourself to somebody else that you can do that's going to like just make you innately better. You have to go through the process of working on the skills in order to get better, right? So you can watch and you be like, oh, they're doing this and this and this, and let me try that through the experimentation that we talked about. But the idea is to make sure that you're just like hyper focused on, building those skill sets up so that you can give yourself the best chance possible, because the days are gone of, just walking around uploading videos that don't really add much value to people, where you're in like some dark environment, people can't really see or hear things, stuff like that. Those days are gone. Like now you have to get content to a point to where it's competitive for the platform. And competitive doesn't necessarily mean your camera quality, doesn't necessarily mean your audio quality. In some cases it does, but it really means that you've learned, like being competitive on YouTube means that you've learned how to make content that you can get people to click on, or that you can hook if it's a short, and you've learned how to get them to enjoy the content, and then you just rinse and repeat that process. That's it, right? So if you focus on that learning curve, then you'll, in developing your skill sets and the things that I mentioned here in this stream, then you'll do awesome. But you have to be super intentional, and you have to stay focused, and you have to make sure that you are laser focused on trying to accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So I hope that added value to you in some way. We're going to go into a Q&A. So if you have questions about anything that I mentioned today, go ahead and drop it in the chat right now. If nobody has questions, then we'll wrap it up. But if you do have a question, put a Q in front of your question so that I can know it's for me and not a side conversation happening in the chat. It just makes it easier. But if I see, a Q, then I'm going to try to get through, like a handful of these before we end the stream. So if you do have a question, definitely go ahead and get it posted here in the chat, and I'll try to help you out. So let's see here. While we're waiting for some questions, it looks like maybe we don't have any. Okay, so here we go. So this doesn't have a Q in front of it. It says, I've noticed that if I post a video within a couple of days of the last one, it kills the previous one's impressions. Is this normal? So what happens is if you have like 2 recent videos, then YouTube typically prioritizes new. However, if one video is still just getting a great response, then in that particular case, that video will still do well. Sometimes they'll take a dip and then they'll end up doing better later. So what you want to do when you're looking at your video performance is, of course, you want to pay attention to what happens when you first publish the video, but you really want to check in like a month later, maybe 2 months later, and then you want to start getting an idea from there about how, your videos typically perform. Because it's really easy to get focused on like, the first week or the first day, but in reality, sometimes, especially if you're publishing a lot, it can take some time before, the videos are, before the videos start to thrive, so to speak. Let's see here. Looking for those cues. Can YouTube short thumbnails be modified after uploading? So after uploading, no, they cannot. So once you have your thumbnail, then you need to commit to that thumbnail. So if you're making a thumbnail for a short, then like once you upload it, then that's it. Let's see here. Are you on this Saturday? Is life on YouTube and Twitter? Yes, I'll be streaming on my channel on Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So for those of you that are hanging out here, if you enjoyed this, I do this every Saturday on my YouTube channel, but it's more Q&A. Super fun stream, awesome community over there. So make sure you check out my channel. Let's see here. So Sylvie Wynn says it's funny that despite this insane amount of content already available on YouTube about how to grow, people still watch these same videos. Yeah, smart people do. And the reason for that is because this stuff is constantly evolving, right? Like the same things that worked, 3 years ago don't necessarily even apply today. So because of that, like as people, learn more and more about the platform and as the platform evolves, smart people definitely stay up to date, with what's happening on the platform for sure. Let's see here. What's a better alternative to Vegas Pro and Adobe software, says R3D Gaming. So you have DaVinci Resolve, which is free, but it's really labor intensive on your computer. You can also use something like Camtasia. Camtasia is a screen recording software plus a video editing software. Both of those are really good solutions. Like Camtasia is really easy to use, but if you're trying to do like super advanced stuff, then in that case, you'd want to go with like a Premiere or DaVinci Resolve. But if you're like, hey, I'm just just trying to make good videos and I just need to do like cuts, maybe zooms and pans and add some like transitions and effects and things like that, plus maybe a screen recording, then in that particular case, you don't have to do a screen recording, but in that particular case, Camtasia is a great fit and it's pretty easy on your computer. Let's see here. So Man of Law says, what camera do you recommend for beginners? So it depends on your budget. So if you're just getting, started, you're not trying to spend a ton of money, then there is a new Sony camera called a Sony EV10, I think it's called, where you can get like different lenses for it and things like that. It's a great choice. It is, a little bit pricey. So, I think it's like, might be like $600 or $700, maybe more. But the reason I recommend that one is because it's super small, it's super high quality, and you can change lenses, which means that you can like really fine tune the look that you have. So for example, like this lens right here is like a 16 millimeter lens. So it's really wide, which means that I can be close to it. Like I can reach out and I'm touching the lens hood right now. But if I wanted to have like a little bit of a different look, then I would need to move this camera back quite a bit in order to put like a 35 millimeter lens on this, which then would, blur out the background even more as long as the aperture was right, but it'd blow out the background even more, but it would kind of make my features look a little bit more like they normally look like, because like the wider angle lens, they might like maybe extend the nose just a little bit more than it naturally looks like and those types of things, but it can also make you look a little bit thinner. So thumbs up to that. After those New Year's brownies, right? So let's see here. What's the best time to post on, here, let me scroll up here as we keep going through these. So what happens after I have 100 subscribers? Then you have 100 subscribers. So it used to be that once you got 100 subscribers, you would unlock your option to get a custom URL for your YouTube channel, but with handles, they solved that. So now after you get 100, then you got to keep going and try to get that 1,000 so you can get to the partner program. Let's see here. Nick, do you, this is from Dolls Will Be Dolls. Nick, do you think creating thumbnails like movie posters can help your channel? So this is one of the things that I was talking about before with experimentation. So if you are trying to reach people that are into movies, then in that particular case, experimenting with some thumbnails to see is definitely something to consider. So if you're getting a decent amount of views or consistent views on your videos, then TubeBuddy has an A/B testing tool where you can actually use their tool to swap your thumbnails back and forth. And by doing that, you get to see like, hey, on home pages, this one performs better. Suggested videos, that one also performs better. In YouTube search, this one performs better. And it gives you like all these details about how your thumbnails perform for different audiences. So that's a great tool for experimentation for things like that. But when you have ideas like that and you're like, hey, would doing it like a movie poster work? Try it. And you'll quickly find if the people that you're trying to reach, you'll quickly know if they respond to, that type of thing or not. So when you do have those ideas, definitely, give them a shot. But just keep in mind, in a lot of cases, like when it comes to making something like a movie poster, you might have to add tons of detail to it and like a lot of things. And you want to make sure that whatever thumbnail that you're making, you want to make sure that at a smaller size, that it's easy to see at a glance, the thing that would, grab the attention of the people that you're trying to reach. So if it was a movie poster, putting like the person that the people you're trying to reach would recognize as like front and center, and then building everything around that would be the right approach. So like, let's say, for example, you're making something about Avatar. Then, of course, having one of those, blue Avatar people, like right there, front and center to where like it's big, like their face is big, and then doing any detail stuff behind that where the Avatar face will be the thing that, pulls the attention. Bailey, the illustrator, says, I posted videos that I think will do incredibly well, optimize SEO and that, but months later, I only have 5 views. Is there a way to really grow when you're new? Absolutely. So when it comes to being a new content creator, and that's Bailey, the illustrator, when it comes to being a new content creator, this is what I was talking about before in terms of some people will thrive right out of the gate, other people it takes a while. So when it comes to growing your channel, the first thing I want to remind you of is that optimizing for SEO is fantastic if your goal is to get certain videos to show up in YouTube search. Now, videos that rank in search can also get recommended elsewhere on the platform, but I do want to remind you that search is a very stable traffic source, but it can be competitive, right, to get your videos to rank high. However, when it comes to the recommendation system of YouTube in terms of them recommending content to people, that's where all the traffic is. So most of the traffic on YouTube, or most of the viewership on YouTube, happens from YouTube's recommendation features. So because of that, if you're only targeting YouTube search, that can be a great way to get started, right? Because then you can start getting some initial people into your videos because it's just easier to get people to click there. But Like the real wins, like the fast wins, come from learning how to get people to respond to your content from homepages and from recommended videos. That's where the real wins are. But if you've posted videos that you think will do incredibly well, also remember that, we are, like all of us, everybody here, we're doing the best that we can at this moment in time with the information that we currently have. So you are posting videos that you think will do incredibly well, and they might. The problem could be your packaging. Maybe your thumbnail isn't clear. Maybe your title isn't clear. Maybe the thumbnail and title together, because they work together, as a team to win the click. So maybe your thumbnail and title, aren't as clear as they should be to help people identify that it's something that they might be interested in. And your video might be awesome, but you might just be having trouble, getting people to click. So because of that, what you want to do is you can go into your YouTube analytics and you can see the impressions that you're getting on your videos. An impression, for those of you that are new, is when YouTube shows your content to somebody on the platform. So you can go and you can see the impressions that YouTube is giving you. And if they're giving you any, then everything falls onto you, right? So if YouTube is showing your videos to people, but nobody's clicking on them and nobody's, clicking in and coming and watching your content, then that's on you. And then that means that you have to start working on that part of what it is that you're doing. In addition to that, if you are getting people to click, but then you look in something called your audience retention reports, which is something that we all have in our YouTube analytics. You can access it on mobile devices and from your computer. It's your audience retention reports, for those of you that are new, are a second-by-second graph that show you how people respond to your content on average over time. So you can, if you're getting people to click and you're like, man, I'm getting people to click, I'm getting the impressions, people are, clicking. Let me see if the problem is my actual video. And then you go and you look at your video, then you can see in your audience retention, you might find that your video is good or your video just isn't getting the response that you thought. So, all we can do is, make the best content that we can with the information that we have, and the skills that we have at that moment in time. But I can assure you that if you are, posting content and you are not getting the results that you're after right now, and you're just getting like 5 views as an example, then that usually means that you need to work on your skill sets in terms of, learning how to make, better thumbnails, learning how to write better compelling titles, learning to come up with better video ideas or more compelling video ideas, learning how to put the content together in a way that will, cause somebody to enjoy the content more through their viewing experience, that sort of thing. So just keep in mind, if you're just getting started, which you are, because you're saying you're getting, 5 views on that, just keep in mind that, right now you're just in that very beginning part of the learning curve. And here's something that I want to share with everybody here. If you're new to YouTube, just say new in the chat here. But one thing I want to tell to everybody here, if you're new, is that there's a filter on YouTube, right? And that filter isn't something that is like programmed into YouTube. That filter is something that happens to content creators. And it's all based on what it is that you're willing to do in order to achieve what it is that you're wanting to achieve. So for example, when you first start uploading video content to YouTube, some people are just going to, just make, whatever video and just hurry up and get it up onto YouTube. And some of those people will do well, depending on the type of content and so on, but a lot of them won't. And the reason for that is because they're not actually going through the process of like, okay, I got to learn how to do this. I got to learn how to make this in a way and edit this in a way and all that will pull people through this particular video. So right at the very beginning, for the people that aren't willing to like learn those additional skills, that filter is going to eat them up and they're not going to be doing it for long, right? But the people that are like, you know what? I see in my audience retention reports, I need to make better videos. So I'm going to watch YouTube videos. I'm going to learn my editing software. I'm going to make just a bunch of videos and edit them and just try to make better videos for the practice so that I can learn how to keep people watching and all that. Those people are going to make it through that first part of the filter, right? Same exact thing goes with all the other skills that you have to develop. The people that are just going to endure and not just keep uploading. Like a common thing that content creators, especially new content creators, will tell each other is, hey bro, just keep uploading. It'll be fine. Just keep uploading videos. In reality, if you're just uploading videos, but you're not actually trying to, develop the skills and you're not trying to get better at what it is that you're doing, and you're not trying to make it a better experience for the people that you're trying to reach, then in that particular case, you're just doing the same thing over and over again and hoping that it works. And in some cases, it might temporarily, but at a sustainable level, it's not going to. But if you're like, hey, I'm going through that process of just, learning this, and I understand that, and I'm just going to embrace it. I'm a new content creator. I'm doing this new, just like if I were to start playing an instrument, or just like if I was going to start playing a new sport. Like, I'm not going to just go onto a basketball court and just start dunking on people, and I don't even know the rules of the game yet, right? So YouTube's the same exact way. It's a new thing that you're coming into. So just embrace that learning curve. And the more that you embrace that learning curve, and instead of looking at it like, like I'm not doing the thing, or YouTube's, holding my content down, or, I'm new, so therefore nobody's going to watch my videos or anything like that. Instead of looking at it through that lens, just look at it like, hey, I'm new. So because of that, I got a lot of stuff that I have to learn in order to get my content to a level that's competitive for the platform. And as soon as it's competitive for the platform, you'll start getting more views, and you'll start getting more people responding to what it is that you're doing. But you have to make sure that you're willing to develop yourself and the skill sets and your understanding in order to make those things happen, right? Because again, if you're just like, hey, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, then in that particular case, it may or it may not, work out. But if you're like, hey, I'm just going to keep trying to improve this stuff, and I'm going to keep working my way through this learning curve, this time next year, you're going to be dunking on people, right? But if you're like, hey, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, then you're going to be sitting on the bench and you're going to be watching, other people's videos, possibly, this time next year. I'm not saying you specifically, but I'm saying, just, new content creators in general. So let's see here. So next question is, what's the best time to post on YouTube Shorts? The best time to post on YouTube Shorts is when it is the best time for the people that you are trying to reach. So when you publish anything to YouTube, be it short form content or long form content, YouTube is showing it to the people that are on the platform at that moment in time that are the most likely to enjoy that content based on the information that they have on them, the data they have on them, and the data that they have on you. So because of that, publish when you think your viewers are most likely to be online. YouTube gives us some of that information. If you don't have it showing up yet, then in that case, just think about it and say, okay, if I'm trying to reach younger kids with my content, then in that particular case, I need to either hit them before they go to school if it's during a weekday, or I need to hit them after school. Because of course, during the day, for that initial first target demographic that you're hitting, in that particular, time of day, if it's right in the middle of their school, then in that case, it's probably not going to land. But just as a quick reminder, initial video performance isn't always a reflection of long-term performance either. So even if you do publish at the wrong time and things like that, as long as you learn the skills of just like, hey, how do I get people to respond to what it is that I'm doing? You'll do awesome. You'll do fine. Regardless of the time that you post, long-term, those videos will still end up, getting views and whatnot. But yes, you can, based on, the audience that you see and when they're online, you definitely want to publish when people that you're trying to reach are online. Let's see here. So we make videos. Jamaki Life says, we make videos for English and Japanese audience. Should we keyword research and title our videos in both languages or just one? So if you are doing dual language on your one YouTube channel, I would separate the YouTube channels. You want to have, like, if you're doing English and Japanese language content, then definitely make sure you put those on two different channels. If not, you're going to make it really hard for yourself. However, if you are doing one video and it's in one language, but you're still wanting to reach that audience, then in that case, for the main audience that you're trying to reach, optimize everything around that. And then YouTube has translation options inside where you can actually go in and translate your titles, translate your descriptions as well. You can also add translated captions so that when people come into the video, you have, Japanese captions in there if it is for Japanese. Let's see here. So Dragon Slayer Productions says that I made a new series using video games as telling a story. How can I describe it and tag it well in order to get the word out about it? So again, tags, don't necessarily think about tagging it. Think about, like, how can I make a thumbnail and a title that's going to express this? Because if you're focused on tags, you're going to be focusing on the thing that's going to do the least for you, right? The thing that's going to do the most for you on YouTube is your thumbnails, your topics, your titles, your thumbnails, and then the actual video content itself. Those are going to carry the most weight. And then your tags, that's literally like the very bottom of the line. So because of that, use TubeBuddy, smack in the ones that it recommends that are relevant to your content, and then keep on trucking. But in terms of the series that you're using the video games to tell the story. I would actually try to think about first the people that you're wanting to watch the videos. So if you're targeting just general folks that are, that you're going after for the stories, that would be, one approach. If you're targeting gamers that you're trying to tell these stories to, then it would be a different approach. So of course, the people would need to be interested in games in some way for you to be using the footage, for the games to tell the story. So because of that, you might just want to focus your thumbnails themselves on just imagery from the game, from, the story that you're telling, or at least, the core imagery, so that you can help people identify that, that it has something to do with, with that. That would be interesting. Like you might have an interesting, audience retention report on there until YouTube figures out the right people that do respond to that. Let's see here. So I'm Algia says, I want to make anime reviews. Do I need to worry about copyright, or do you think I will be fine? Always worry about copyright. So the thing with copyright is that, things change on YouTube, laws change, policies change. They just had a policy change recently where the first 8 seconds of your video, if you put a curse word in your first 8 seconds, then you don't get to monetize those videos, and that applies retroactively, which means that all the people that had a curse word as part of their intro, they're going to have to deal with that. So when it comes to copyright, it's a legal thing. It's not a YouTube thing. It's a legal thing. So because of that, just keep in mind that anytime you are using copyright protected material, that unless you're using it in the right way, you're putting yourself at risk. So I recommend that you look into something called fair use. But even with fair use, that's a current thing. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's still going to hold up, 5 years from now or 10 years from now, because as we all witnessed in 2022, massive laws that have precedents attached to them can still get changed. So because of that, I recommend that you just be extremely cautious when it comes to, copyright protected material. So once again, I want to just remind everybody, if you haven't subscribed to the TubeBuddy channel yet, make sure you do so. Make sure you check me out as well. Nick Nimmin is my name. You can find me possibly linked in the description. I'm not sure. Or you can just look on YouTube, for my name. It's NickNimmin. I got a whole channel full of content like this. Also, I want to remind you that TubeBuddy has over 90 different tools that will help you with your YouTube channel. So if you're a content creator, especially if you're getting started, go ahead and start using TubeBuddy so you can see what it'll do for you or how it can help you. Because it can help you with, all kinds of different things related to your YouTube channel from the management side and also from the optimization side, coming up with video ideas and things like that. So thank you again to the TubeBuddy team for having me on. Everybody have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will see you next time. I'm going to give this here just a second to make sure that that ends up coming through before I end it here. Yeah, you're on the TubeBuddy channel, right boy Kapow. All right. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you next time.